We will call this meeting to order. Welcome, everybody. Welcome anyone who's joining us online. Lawrence, I hope you can hear us. I
I
see a
can.
message about,
I can
yes?
now. Thank you.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Well, welcome to our virtual panel members and any community members we have with us as well. And welcome, of course, to everyone in the room. We will start as always with our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge the Arapaho, Ute, and Cheyenne tribes, the traditional custodians of the land on which the Police Oversight Panel and Boulder Police Department operate, and pay our respects to their elders past and present. We have a special meeting today. We have new members with us. I think we'll have some time to fully recognize our departing panel members and welcome our new members in just a moment, but want to acknowledge that at the top. Welcome, everybody. We're so happy you're here. We'll start off with a discussion of the agenda. So everyone has it in front of them, but to give you a quick rundown, we will do our roll call, which we skipped. We will do our roll call now, actually. Let's go that instead. Roll call.
So we're doing just roll call, just when we do introductions, just add the pronouns to that. So.
Yes. Do we want to do introductions before roll call? I guess we don't actually have that in here, do we?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, we have it in there.
Well, maybe instead, but
Later on.
Welcome.
Okay. Were you wanting to just add that later?
oh yeah, instead of roll call, we do a round of introductions with name and pronouns. And
Okay.
I don't know, messing with you.
That sounds great to me. Are we good with that? As we roll call, do a quick intro, share your pronouns, anything else you'd like to share? Welcome, Curtis.
Thank
Good to
you.
see you. Oh. We'll pass it over for roll call.
Okay. Soledad. No, Soledad Diaz, I use she currently co-chair of the panel. This is my beginning of my fourth year on the panel. And welcome.
Lizzie. I'm Lizzie Friend. Nice to meet you all. She, her. My fourth year on the panel, and I'm also interim co-chair for now. Kristen notified us that she's not going to be here. Curtis?
Hello, everyone. My name is Curtis. This is my pronouns he, him, and this is my second year serving as a student panelist.
Bill?
Here. Hi, everybody. Met you all at the interview, so it's nice to see you again. I use he, him pronouns, and I think this is my third year. I think so.
Sounds right.
So
Third,
welcome.
10th, who knows?
I
Say.
kind of blends in.
Alan?
I'm Alan Ihashi, and I'm either in my, I think if you're in 3 years, that means I'm in 2 years.
Yeah.
And I write books and make movies. I just came back from Galveston. I almost wasn't gonna show up today, but I took a nap. And it was sunny out, so I heard people talking about daylight savings time. Well, I likely would have stayed home had it been dark out. I would have woken up.
Glad you made it. Turner is not here. JD?
Present. My name is JD. It stands for Jadzia Dax. I use they, them pronouns. I'm an educator and writer here in Boulder, and this is my first day on the panel.
Jennifer?
Jennifer Hine, she, her pronouns. Colorado peer and family specialist for focused reentry, and I'm a new panel member.
Welcome. Evan?
Here. My name's Evan, he, him. I'm excited to be here today. Stay on for me. Thank you.
Alex?
Hi everyone, I'm Alex. Either they pronouns, either is fine. Student member, first time on the panel.
Lawrence?
Hi, Lawrence Wojcik. I use he, him, and this is my first year on the panel.
Do city staff want to introduce themselves also?
I'm Maria Rivera Vandermeid. I am the city manager. I use she, a, yeah pronouns.
And I am Chris Reynolds. I'm a deputy city attorney. Him pronouns, and I'm really happy to be here.
Sterling Ekbo, I'm a police sergeant. I am the liaison to the panel from the police department.
My name is Sherry Down, she, her pronouns, independent police monitor. And parting panel members, Milan?
My name is Milan Gillard. I was on the panel and I'm here for the last meeting. Yeah. Nice to see you all.
My name is Jason Savala, he, him, and I'm departing member after 3 years.
We get everybody, yes. Right. So I failed to include some folks at the top welcoming city staff, PPD staff, and Naria, thanks for being here, and also our current, recently former departing panel members, so thank you guys for being here too. All right, with that, we will now get to the agenda. In terms of our ad hoc items, we'll do a quick discussion of the agenda. If we need to add anything, we'll talk about last month's minutes and vote on that. Then we'll get into our ad hoc items. We will give a warm send off to our former panel members and give them a thank you and some recognition. We'll welcome our new panel members. Very excited to have you all, as we mentioned. We'll do an update on the 5-year review process. And for our new panel members, we can give you kind of catch up on what's going on there. We'll talk about the panel reappointment process, have some discussion and questions. We will go into a discussion of the co-chair election protocol. The election will happen next month, so we'll talk about how that should go. And then we will talk some prep for the Q1 meeting with the chief, which is in just somehow only 2 weeks from now, so we'll talk about that. And finally, we'll touch on the annual report. So lots of ad hoc items today. Then we'll go to public comment, hopefully around 7:30, 7:40, about halfway through. Then we will do an update from our Community Outreach and Engagement Committee. We'll wrap up with the Independent Police Monitor report, go into closed session if needed to talk through any of our cases that we have for review. And then we will proceed with our regular business, case assignment, status, and reassignment for one case. And then we'll adjourn. So any motions to add or adjust anything on the agenda, or if not, a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Great,
Second.
great. Okay, so all in favor of approving the agenda as is, raise your hand. Okay, anyone opposed? Great, agenda is approved. With that, we'll go into the minutes from last month. Does anyone have any motions for changes to the agenda or the minutes to approve? Okay, second. Great. Who would like to approve the minutes? Anyone against approving the minutes? Okay, minutes are approved. With that, we will go into our. Sorry, I have a question. Yes, this is for February minutes. Yeah, you guys didn't. Oh, thank you. Approve January minutes either. Yes. Okay, so in the February meeting, there was a little bit of confusion over whether something might have been missing from the January minutes. Soledad and I checked it. I think the thing we thought was missing was actually not missing. But does anyone else have concerns about the January minutes? I'm fine with it as is now. It was just a result of a vote that we thought wasn't included. That had to do with our interim chair extension, right? Yeah. Okay. If not, we can have a motion to approve the January minutes.
I'll just amend.
Approve both minutes. Okay. We have a second.
Yes, second.
That, so all in favor of approving January and February minutes? Anyone against? Excellent. Okay, those are both approved. With that, we will now get into recognition of our departing panel members. Is that Sherry? Is that Nuria?
I'm happy to start, but certainly I hope that others chime in. For our new panel members, I will say that you're about to jump into something that is not for the faint of heart, right? The kind of work that you will do is super important to our community. And it can take a toll on what you watch, what you see, what the import of it in our community. And I am so thankful for the folks that have been doing this for a time now. I know it has been heavy work. It has been hard work. It has been work of passion. And so I am grateful. Jason, Milan, you're here with us, but I want to say Chico, AB, and Turner, who are not currently with us unless they're in virtual land, but want to recognize them as well for the tremendous work and dedication that you have shown your colleagues, the community, and the voices that you brought to the work that we do. So I'm immensely grateful for the work that you have done. And I think it is your experience and your passion has really shown in all the work that you have done. So I just, on behalf of the city, just want to thank you for that service and appreciate all that you have done here. I don't know if others want to share a vote of recognition. We also have some certificates for you. Floor.
Well, I'll just say when I came, I didn't know nothing. You all. And working with Jason, Milan, and Chico, and it was really helpful. And I appreciate everything that you brought, because you shared with me and taught me things I had no idea that we were going to even do. And so it was a steep learning curve. So I appreciate both of what talked to you. Of course, I appreciate Chico and AB, but you're sitting here. So, and I just appreciate the lens that you both brought, because it was different than mine. And that made for some rich conversations. So thank you both. Yeah, you know what I mean. We'll have our own rich conversations. So thank you for being here and for sharing part of that with me.
Yeah, I'd like to second that. Same kind of sentiment. Coming onto this new sphere can be very uncomfortable if you've never done anything like this before. I know for me it was my first time. And panelists like Milan, who were very intentional about trying to make the space more comfortable by building relationship is an important part. And also being kind of a historical wisdom holder of some of the knowledge that exists here of the historical context of the panel and help me get a better understanding. I haven't had too many one-on-ones with you, Jason, but I have appreciated the things that you've said in the space as well. And Chico is another one who's really went out of his way to take time to impart wisdom. So grateful for all of you for the service that you put forward.
Just want to second what everyone said. Jason has been so fun, and testifying against you, the Capitol was.
Against it.
Yeah, it was awesome. Same for AB, Chico. It was, I so much appreciated the challenging conversations sometimes, humbling conversations, but I do want to take a minute to thank you, Milan. I don't think there's no one in this panel that has taken more cases than you. There's no one in the panel, not even the coaches, that have dedicated so many hours, so many community engagement, so many walks, trainings, ride-alongs as you. And I am just deeply and profoundly sorry that we're not gonna have you for here, because that level of commitment was something that I always aspired to, could never match you as much as I tried to do case reviews as you did. I couldn't. I feel like that is a huge loss to have someone so committed to the work. And I just want to recognize that the record on cases, the record on showing up everywhere, every training, retreats, you never took a sick day. And I just.
Not even today.
Not even today. And that, I have to say, it's an example. And I feel the loss. So thank you for showing up for everyone and for being a mentor to the new families.
I just want to say, I'm not going anywhere. I'll still be in town. To the extent that I can help anybody, I'm not on the panel after whatever date it is. And if we talk, it doesn't have to be in a public meeting. And I'm happy to do whatever I can to help the panel in any way. So when issues come about, if you want, please give me a call. Great. Thanks.
Thank you.
And it's been an honor and a joy to work here and work with all of you all. I've learned a lot. I come from a criminal defense perspective. I tried to come with as much of an open mind as I could. And I think I have. I would say that I probably voted against finding anybody responsible or in any way sanctioning anybody more often than I voted for it by a significant amount. And I love the ride-alongs. I want to do those again.
You can. You can as a community member.
You can still go on.
Thank you all.
Jason.
Well, I appreciate the institutional wisdom everyone's brought. I've only going on 30 years, and I'm still haven't quite figured out exactly what's going on. And I hope that everything that I've learned from you all will rub off on me, because at some point in time we'll all be, that institutional wise person for the revolving door pushes us all out again. So it's always good to have people showing the way, because we're all going to have to learn how to show the way at some point. So good luck to you all, and maybe I'll run into you at the grocery store one day.
And I wanted to say so many things, and you're being so nice. I don't feel like saying all I have to say, but I will say that thank you. First of all, thank you. It's been an honor and a pleasure to be working with you, despite the conversations that we may had sometimes where we disagree, and that's part of the course. I came to the panel from a racial justice perspective. I leave the panel with the same purpose. I'm a bit sad. Certainly sad to leave the panel because the fight is not over. Welcome to all of you, new panelists. You're in for a ride. I think what I just want to say is that you're entering a panel in crisis, and I'm sorry for that. We entered the panel in crisis, and that was quite a ride. We had to rewrite it. We had to go on a moratorium. We had to rewrite an ordinance, and that ordinance is now being questioned and reinterpreted. And that's your job, to maintain the purpose of the panel as it was when it was created. It's a big job. We're being intimidated. We're being bullied. Soledad is a prime example. I'm sure we'll talk about it. And so I wish you all a really strong spine, and also a very clear purpose of why you're here. I think that's really, really key. Follow your purpose. Keep it in mind, because you're going to be pushed around quite a bit. I had details, but I think I'll be short. I just want to say that no matter what, anyone wearing a uniform and bearing a weapon, and I think Sterling, you agree with me, needs to be accountable, and it needs to be accountable, period. Especially to the community they serve. And that means all voices in our community, all voices in our community. And with the reinterpretation of the ordinance right now, we're losing voices. And I hope you can fight, because we've fought so hard for the last 3 years, and we're still fighting. And as Nuria was saying, it's tough. What you see sometimes is tough. How you interpret things, it's tough. It's tough. And we still don't have mental health care, which I've asked for many times for our panelists. And Sherry, that's on you. Don't let yourself be intimidated. That's all I would say. Don't let yourself be intimidated. And please feel free to call me if you want to. I'm happy to give you my phone number. I can give you a good history of this panel. I can do it without too many biases. I obviously have my opinion, but I can be that person who has historical knowledge for you. I'm happy to, but also lean onto the panelists, Curtis, Soledad, Lizzie, Bill. They have also knowledge and historical knowledge. It's going to be tough for the first year because there's so much you're going to train on and learn and legalese that you don't know. So really, really call each other, lean on the people who have been here for a while. And a special heartfelt thank you to Chico, if you're somewhere, Chico. Just want to say Chico has been on the panel longer than we all have, and he had that historical knowledge for us, and he has been such a steady panelist for 5 years. I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. And I don't think we recognize Chico enough for what all that he has done. Yeah, I'm and I'll finish on that. I'll just say that we are community members who are holding accountable a system that is well oiled and that is not in the favor of everyone in our community. And so this is why we're here. Let's not forget that purpose. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I see also we have Turner now with us. Turner, I say thank you to you as well. Thank you so much for your time on the panel. Anything you want to, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you want to say anything, please do.
I don't. I think Juan kind of took the stage, but I just want to say welcome to the new members, and yeah, you guys are entering a panel in crisis, and you guys have the people that are there are great, and I please rely on them and consult with them because it is a crazy and very stressful at first, but I think I have high hopes.
Thanks for your service.
Thank you again for your words, Milan. We really appreciate it. It's very wise advice. And I'll echo Jason said, kind of took the words out of my mouth. You guys are not panel members, but you are still community members and you have a role here, and we want to continue to learn from you and hear your perspective and learn from your expertise. So please don't go anywhere. Please continue to engage with us. We still want to hear from you. So please do. And you know, you guys have heard us reference a lot, but it was a difficult year on the panel. We've had a lot going on. And I think a lot of that was just a testament to how much the panel cares and how committed they have been. And I'll echo Soledad's comments about you, Milan, and just your level of commitment to the panel being really unmatched. But every single one of you contributed a lot and fought hard for things that were very important to you and your community and our community. And we just thank you all so much for that. And every one of you will be so missed. Everything. And don't go anywhere. We want to keep hearing from you. Or not. Of course.
Yeah, Jason, thank you so much. You helped shine a light in several case reviews on the actual workings of the Boulder court system, and it was very helpful to have your expertise in some of those cases. And I think you also brought some levity to some case reviews, and it was appreciated the experience that you brought to this panel. And Milan, I wish every member on the panel had half of your dedication to the work and showing up. Like, you always showed up. And I mean, hearing other people talk about it, it didn't go unnoticed by anyone. And the panel would be so much stronger if everyone showed your level of passion and dedication and thoroughness. And that is always appreciated. And I've always respected you for that. You really put your money where your mouth is. So thank you for
Like $200.
Yeah.
Yes, and Chico has been this last year the elder statesman. He had big shoes to fill when Victor left, and he did a great job doing that. And looking now at Z and Soledad, you are our longest holders of institutional knowledge.
Yes.
So that's pretty exciting. But yeah, Chico he had a lot of historical knowledge, and as the panel turns over, we lose that. And AB's not here, but I think when she spoke, I think she always brought a really interesting perspective and was a calming presence on the panel, whether it was in these larger meetings or in case reviews where she provided thoughtful insight. And I don't want her contribution to be overlooked just because she's here, but she certainly brought a voice that I was happy to hear. And Turner, thank you. It's probably challenging coming in, especially since you were, brought on from the alternate pool. So you didn't even come in with other people who were learning. So we just threw you in, and you did a great job. And you provided some great insight in case reviews, and I've appreciated working with you. And I hope you do great in midterms and then finals and graduation. The student members are here for a short time sometimes, but thank you so much, Turner. And we have some certificates for people whose terms are ending that you quickly do. And actually, also, Olivia, thank you for serving your first term. Oh, okay. And Curtis, your first term also.
That's not a party gift.
Thank you very much, Lucy. I mean, I think when I first came on, it was quite unusual for someone to serve out their entire term. And that's good.
Should do us now. Three of us.
We'll pick it up. Is this?
So, well, it says notes. So once they're not.
Yes. Oh, I get it. Oh, you get a blue ball. I get a blue spot. Would you like a picture with Maria? No. Yes. Just your goals.
Do whatever you want.
You're good to fill it in? Thank you.
Okay. 2, 3, wait.
You want to get in, Elsa?
Jason, thank you. Oh, Jason, thank you.
Okay.
Jason, thank you.
It's Jason. I think I'm 5'9". Good. And I know, in my mind, you will get other quotes as they're.
Really enjoyed your.
We will get your certificate and gift to you, Turner, and get other quotes as well. Appreciate it. Thank you.
That's it.
Okay, once we've done this, then the panel members, we pay for staff and actually.
Don't have a nice ride home. This weather must be amazing from place like this.
I will. Keep an eye on them.
Not usually. Yes, in fact, there's. You're not a person?
German law.
Yeah. So you like me to give you 2 push-ups instead? Would that be okay, I am not particularly a touchy person, but I'm not for sure.
Okay. No, really? You're welcome. Oh, sure, here. Yes,
Every meeting.
yeah.
Try to keep this consensus based.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah, every time I watch the record,
Give us 30 minutes. So we'll-
One day we'll go over. Do you have anything lined up?
No, not yet.
These 2, 3 rounds from here. Bye. Nope.
That's good.
Thank you, Turner.
Thanks, Turner stays. Because his
Oh.
student term doesn't end until the end of the month,
Oh,
so.
good, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Next up, welcome new panel members.
Welcome.
Welcome. Maria, Sherry.
Sure, I'll start. You know, it's funny when, I feel like the last time I did this welcome, we were in a moment of, I don't know that I would call it crisis, but certainly in a difficult moment. Coming out of a moratorium, coming out of changes. This is no different as we're moving forward in a variety of different ways and, continuing to mature as a panel. I'm just, again, excited that you have chosen to say yes and move into a sphere that, as I mentioned before, is not for the faint of heart, but has as like all oversight, has some controversy. There is tension inherent in oversight. It is your charge to be community voice, and to really look at what our officers do. I always say that I really stand by, I've been in a few cities now, and I stand by PD here, and yet I will always say, and I'm not shy about saying it, because I've said it publicly, that bad policing is not what we're after. And so this is a community voice that gets to look at those allegations, and you get to lend your perspective into what we do. And I think that's really super important as we move forward. So there will be a lot for you to, as somebody, I think Milan was saying, there's a lot for you to learn as you're walking down this path. There will be a lot of training. There will be a lot of terms that for some will be foreign and all of a sudden will be sort of old hat to you. You've got your colleagues here on the panel who will likely be your first best support as you're moving through this journey. You've also got staff. You get to know Sherry certainly as our independent monitor, but Chris as well, who supports with legal advice as needed. And then we've always got Sterling, who is joining in case there are questions on PD. I hope that you don't see me often, frankly, because that usually means something needs clarifying or something's happening that requires me to come in. There are times when I'm very neutral because if there is a dispute between the chief and the IPM, it comes to me. And that's one of the reasons I remain fairly neutral. But appointments in this process have come to me through council. They used to be a council appointed body, and now they are appointed by me through recommendations by the advisory committee. So I'm just excited about the journey. I know there's a lot to be done here, a lot that you will be learning. You do your ride-alongs. There's one that's required, but I encourage you to do more than that if you're able to, because there is nothing that beats, I think, being out there and seeing, meeting folks on PD, seeing what's happening on the field. So please know that, and don't hesitate to answer questions, to raise your voice, to let us know what's happening. It's not always pretty as we muddle through it. I won't lie to you, but we muddle through it and we will move forward as we go on. The other thing I'll say to our new, I'll keep the review till, I'll stay a minute and hold off on the 5-year review. Really excited that you're here and joining us.
Would any of you like to say like a minute or so about yourself so people in the community have an idea about the new panel members?
Sure. Jennifer, she, her, person of lived experience. I was homeless and pregnant on the streets of Boulder County. And I worked my way into self-sufficiency again on my own. Now I'm of service, working a job with Focus Reentry as a Colorado Peer and Family Specialist in the community where I was broken. So I do my best to help people along their journey where they're at and meet them where they're at in the community. Be the best support I can on the streets and then once they get housed as well.
My name is JB. I've lived in Boulder since 2020. I work in education. I'm also a veteran of both the Air Force and the Army. And I look forward to being an advocate in the community and being part of this panel. And I look forward to working with everyone here and learning from those who've been on the panel for a couple of years.
And you only speak 5 languages, right?
I only speak 5 languages.
The slacker.
And he's learning another one.
Well, I'm Alex. I certainly don't have as many claims to fame as JD does here. I'm a student just a few minutes from here at CU Boulder studying aerospace as a junior. So I'm sure to learn from the existing panel members and serve my community as best I can. It's about it.
My name's Evan. I am an emergency physician. I work at a bunch of different hospitals across the Front Range and will be starting to work at Foothills Hospital here this week, actually. So I'm very excited about that. I have a background in, like, from an academic perspective in homelessness and substance use. I've done some population health research in that department. And before that, I used to work for a nonprofit prior to going into medicine, putting on after school programs and summer camps for economically disadvantaged youth in my hometown. I'm relatively new to Boulder. I moved here last year, and I'm really looking forward to serving my community. I'm planning on being here for a long time. So thank you, everybody.
Lawrence, your turn.
Okay. Lawrence Wojcik. I practiced law for 46 years. Most of my pro bono effort were prisoner rights cases and juvenile law. I have a great passion for fair adjudication and community involvement in that term. And I'm honored to join you all. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thanks. Well, we're so happy to have you for the 12th time, which is being here. Thank you for telling us a little bit about yourselves. Looking forward to learning more, getting to know all of you as we work together. All right, so just a quick time check. We're behind. We're going to try to go for relatively quick items, finishing out our ad hoc item list. So starting us off with the 5-year review update.
I'll try to be quick, and I know that we have our facilitator who is joining us to answer questions or to talk about it. But we started, we talked a little bit about the last time we sort of came together as a panel after the moratorium. We changed the existing ordinance, and the existing ordinance had a provision that allowed for a 5-year review. 5-year review, importantly, is not intended to eliminate oversight in any way, shape, or form, but really to take a look at ways in which we can strengthen it. So it is 5 years, and we wanted to really lean into that as we were having a variety of discussions, some more heated than others, about the current process and what we're doing. And it was just a really good time to lean into that review. We hired Yolanda Greer from Elevate New, and so you will see that actually for most of the new panel, or for all the new panel members, you will see an email from me talking about what next steps are and what does that look like. But before I take your thunder, Yolanda, did you want to lean in?
Good evening, everyone. I'm happy to. Thank you so much, Nudia, for having me again tonight. And it's good to see the returning members, as well as to meet informally here, but to meet those of you who are coming on board. So welcome. I will just tell you that to date, 17 individual interviews have been conducted. And those interviews were the start. They were phase 1 of the 5-year police oversight review. And in that, acquired a lot of great information around what's working, what communication and collaboration looks like and can be like, what is the ideal states of those, as well as we began digging into some things that could be better, different moving forward to help us have a more effective and efficient panel and collaboration between the entities that are represented around this table. So that has been wonderful. The group, the members sitting before you who have been there before, they voted to pause this review process so that the new members, so that those of you who are just now joining us could be brought into the fold, if you will. So as Nuria mentioned, you should have received an email from her today giving some specifics around a couple of things I will just explain really quickly. I know that time is short here, but one thing that we began with in our very first group meeting, which was held on February 13th, all of the members participated in Emergenetics, which in short is an assessment that helps us to understand our own and others' thinking and behavioral preferences. And in that, as we learned about ourselves and about each other and ways that we can better communicate and collaborate, we began to see some walls begin to break down during our first group session, and looking at how we can use that information in our future interactions to help us to be, of course, we always want to have discourse, but to do so in very professional and respectful ways. So that's one of the items around emergenetics. So there's details for you in there. There was an attachment to that email that Nuria sent. So please be sure to jump on that ASAP. It needs to be complete by next Monday. There is a profile assessment as well as a very short e-learning course. And then I will conduct a group debrief, new members, with you all the following Monday. And why am I drawing a blank on dates at the moment? But that will be March 23rd. In the evening. So if you could go ahead and just make a note, and I'll send out interviews now that, or excuse me, calendar invites now that you all have received the information. And so we'll all come together. We will look at that. And again, it's really just to get you up to speed with what the rest of the group has already gone through, so that for our March 27th, as our next scheduled whole group meeting in the morning, we will all come together. Excuse me, that's in the evening, 6 to 8 p.m. We will all come together for our second session, where we will continue to build on our working norms, and then begin to formulate some of the other areas for review, and continue on April 3rd. So that is my work with you all. It is really around the adaptive dynamics of the review. And then later, Nuria, I'll actually let you speak to that part. But I am here to support the adaptive portion of the review. So thank you all again. Nice to see everybody, and I'll see you all soon.
Thanks so much, Yolanda. Appreciate all the work that you're doing. We, as we're thinking about what changes could happen, if there are some that are in policy, if there's some that are in code, we will need to go to council for that. And so we've also have on standby another facilitator who knows and has worked in the oversight field at the ready. So it'll depend a little bit on what comes out of this work and what needs to move forward. But we have someone else to support us on some of the very particular technical aspects of ordinance or policy change that we may have in the future. So that's to come, but we're going to do this part first.
Yes.
There's a question there too.
Yeah, Lawrence has a question.
I got the email, but there were no attachments to the one I received. Should there have been?
I will double check, Lawrence, because I did it, I think, 15 minutes before coming down here. So if I did it in haste and didn't send it to you, I will make sure you all get it.
Thank you very
Nuria,
much.
I'll take care of that for you. No worries. I will get that done.
Love it.
If we can just clarify that, because and just so we're clear with the minutes and how we keep the agenda, we didn't vote to pause the review. That was kind of an informal conversation in the workshop, but there wasn't a vote on a panel meeting where all the panelists voted. It was kind of a decision within the workshop. So for transparency and since we have community in attendance that won't be showing up in any meeting or recording, but there was not formal vote within a panel meeting where we voted to pause.
Not a formal action.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
just to a nod of 5 or a straw poll, maybe they does in their meetings.
Exactly. So we talked about it when we were doing the workshop, but just to be super clear that is not going to show up in things. Okay. Sorry. Thank you.
No, perfect. Other comments or questions for Nuria or Yolanda? All right. I'm sure they'll come up as you guys dig into it. Please send them Yolanda's way if you have any. Great. All right. Thank you both for being here. Appreciate it.
I think I was asked to stay for one more.
Oh, yes. It was not dismissing you.
I'm happy to be dismissed, but I believe I have some questions
To
to
answer this topic. Yeah. And with that, our next topic is discussion on the panel reappointment process. And I think we had a few members who wanted to kick that off.
Yeah, I can start. Yeah, I just wanted to get some clarity around the reapplication and the reappointment of authority on the panel. Because after speaking with previous panelists and current sitting panelists, the practice of reapplying has never been practiced. So I'm just trying to get some clarity around that, why we're starting to do it now.
So I'll start, and if I say anything wrong, Chris will correct me or jump in or kick me virtually, but I wouldn't necessarily say that, Curtis. I think previously when the police oversight panel was appointed by council, both, just like any, other boards and commissions, panel appoints, there's an application. Anyone finishing their term has to reapply. The same holds true for every board and commission. So that has happened in the past. I think we missed one, quite frankly, in the transition from the appointing authority being council to the manager. And it's one of the reasons actually in my early December, I want to say December 5th email to you all, I actually acknowledged that and said, hey, we have an appointment process. It is in ordinance about reapplying. Reapplying is a formal thing. It's not just I want to remain, and that happens, which is what happened with one of the current members. So we missed that. And I wanted to make sure nobody missed their window on this one and had the opportunity to apply.
Okay, so you're saying that it's written in the boards and commissions that sitting panelists have to reapply? Or it's written in the ordinance? Because I didn't see
In
that.
code, it talks about reapplying.
Reappoint.
Reappointment.
And so and then you look to the process, which is, it's in the city manager's discretion essentially to appoint whoever, if he wants to, who have applied. And so because the panel is kind of somewhat of a special entity because it's appointed by the city manager, the closest other sort of thing that the city uses is the board and commission appointment process. And so following that process would require everybody to reapply, even if there's a sitting member. To do it otherwise would be not applying really any sort of a process. And as Maria said, when there was the shift between going from being appointed by city council to being appointed by the city manager, there was that process was not strictly followed. And so rather than just kind of repeating that same sort of process mistake this round, we followed the board and commission process and required people to reapply just like board and commission members do. And so this go around was much more closely following the actual process that's supposed to be followed.
I would add one thing too, is that the application process for this panel, unlike others, requires an advisory committee to support that before their recommendations come to me for appointment. So it has to go through that process in order for recommendations to come my way and then reappointments occur.
Understood. Okay, I'm just trying to figure out in the boards and commissions reapplication that you're talking about, where is that? Where can we find that? Because I looked on the board and commissions guidelines, it doesn't mention anything about that. And I looked in the ordinance and bylaws and couldn't find it there either.
And Nuri can back me up here, but I'd have to look closely in the code to see if that is in the code or could be just city practice. And sometimes when the governmental organization does something enough, it becomes almost as good as law if it's a practice that's followed over time.
It is a practice, and it's because people serve terms, and once the term is over, it cannot just be extended. Somebody has to reappoint, and whether it's now me or it is city council for a board and commission, they have to go through that same process because a reappointment has to happen.
Yes, I understand the reappointment has to happen and that the ordinance says that the city manager has the ability to reappoint.
Yeah.
But we're saying that we missed one. I assume you're referring to Chico.
Yeah, I believe so.
Is that the panelist who we're talking about? Didn't have to reapply, but was able to extend his term by indication alone?
Chico and your prior Victor.
Victor and also Madeline, who I spoke with and said she's never had to reapply.
Then I apologize, but I know we missed the process. But I know that Madeline had applied the first time.
Applied the first time, but I'm talking about sitting panelists whose terms are at an end and they want to extend or do another term. They're saying that they have not had to reapply, but have been able to do another term based on indication. It's indicated it and they were allowed to. They were reappointed then.
Yeah. I wouldn't say they were reappointed. I think we missed the process. I'm very honest when we miss a process and do something wrong. And when it came to my attention, it is why I honestly said to everyone who was up for reappointment, we have to do it the right way because we had not.
Okay, in these instances that I'm referring to, you said that you wouldn't say they were reappointed. What would you call that then?
I would, well, I think we just missed the process.
Rolled over.
Yeah.
Their
Rolled
terms
over.
just rolled over.
Into another term.
Mhm.
And we're just not calling that reappointment.
Right, and I think if it's okay, I think this is something that needs to be clarified. Because I've often wondered this because I've for boards, commissions, as has Bill. And I don't know, I've wondered if it's codified anywhere that, you apply for the HRC, you apply for all the rest of them. Where does it say that you have to go through this process? I'm not sure what it does.
There is a term that ends, and then in order to continue.
I get that, and so what I'm thinking is that just for consistency, what if we just folded our application process into the boards and commissions?
That's what we did this year.
Process? But I don't think it was on the boards and commissions application where you go to board, the Arts Commission, you go to the planning board, you go to the HRC. There wasn't POP in that list. And I think we would get way more interest from the citizens if they were, okay, well, I don't want to be on the planning board. I don't want to be on the Human Relations Commission. Oh, police oversight panel. That sounds interesting to me.
Alan, starting not this recruitment period, but last recruitment period, that's exactly what we did. So we were folded into the boards and commissions.
But I know it was on there.
Yeah. Yeah, we did that for exactly to your point,
All
to
right,
try
all
to
right.
be able to piggyback onto their outreach efforts and to be more consistent.
So maybe I was just thinking not back far enough.
When you
Or
did
about
it,
too far back.
I think you were in the first recruitment that I did, and that we were now with boards and
right.
commissions, and
Well, nonetheless, I think that I think we should continue that process.
So I understand part of the distinction here. One is a practice, but if it's not codified, then how do we know that it's something that we have to go through? Is having a practice and saying we've done this practice for a few years, so it's a natural part of us doing business. I get that in a governmental entity. But then what I'm hearing Alan and Curtis is it's not codified anywhere. And so if we're going to go through this ordinance review, then that has to be part of the process where it has to be codified in terms of what's the reappointment process so that we don't keep running into this. Why? Because if you said you couldn't find it in the boards and commission, and I don't know, I served on the HRC so long ago that I don't think they were actually doing any kind of, if you were out of breath, you could be reappointed.
No, still has to appoint you.
So my point is, how do we codify this so that it's not just a practice, but it's something that is in writing?
I will admit that sometimes laws can be, as written by human beings, they can have things that can be interpreted differently. But to Nuria's point, I would not advise if I was asked about process question, whether or not Nuria could just appoint someone, a current panel member, without making them reapply. I'd say, well, then we wouldn't be allowing the advisory committee to have their say in who gets appointed to the panel, which is required by the code. And really, the only way to get them kind of the slate of candidates would be to give them the applications. And so I think I would not quite say that there isn't that it's not codified that individuals would need to reapply to be members of the panel, because it is codified that the city manager must take into account the advisory committee's recommendations. The only way they can make those recommendations is if they can have applications.
So where is that written?
It's 21110 is the panel appointment process, and then when it speaks about the advisory committee, that's subsection C.
Okay.
Right, if I can just jump in, and I think I understand where all the concerns are coming, and I think that this time it felt like I remember your email, and we've been. I know several panel members and ourselves, the coaches, have been asking like, what's going on with the terms? When do we have to reply? When I'm running out? And I think part of what was missed this time around was more clarity around here's the process, here's what's gonna happen. Once you submit your application, you're gonna be selected to go to an interview, and then after the interview, so I think, like, when I submitted my application, I didn't know that then I would be invited to an interview or not. And that was a surprise. And if I can take the opportunity to provide feedback on the interview, and I have said this to a few members, but the interview was 15 minutes, and I'm sure you went through it. I hope that we had the same.
They all did.
Yeah.
And it was like a minute answer per question, and that is not trauma informed, and that is not accessible. I have to say, like, for me, it was not terrifying because that's like, I'm trained. That's my job, to convince people in a minute to vote for something, so to elect me. But in this case, I don't think that that form of interview is accessible or trauma informed or even friendly for anyone applying. And also, I think I would have appreciated knowing when I submitted my application that my application will get me into an interview or not, because I would have probably put more attention to certain things, so make sure to convey my interest, and that, I think, kind of trigger something that I it's not a great, it was not, in my opinion, a great process, and it wasn't communicated properly. So that's kind of feedback for the future.
I appreciate that. And because we follow the boards and commissions process too, I'll share that with the clerks and with council, because part of this is they're seeing, I think, 123 interviews they had to see, and that's where this process is born from, which is why it is a shorter process. But I'm happy to share that, and maybe something that we.
And I think that, I don't know if all the boards and commission have their ordinance, we do. And I think our process, not all of them have an advisory group, right? So I think that we can, so we could make sure that the practice is a thoughtful interview. Like, the questions were super deep. And I think, great, I could manage them because I've been doing this for 3 years. But for someone that is fairly new, I don't think, the timing and the way that the questions were presented was accessible and friendly. And, I'd rather have 3 questions that are super deep and people can go into them with their full self than this kind of, what do you do? Are you fast, or are you good? How much is 2 plus 2? It's like 3. Well, you want precision or fast, answer. So, anyway, I just wanted to provide that feedback. I think it wasn't a brilliant process at all, and it could have been so much better, and probably would have, again, going through the application process with more information would have been much, much better. And with an understanding, I think also we fail on the timing, knowing that we meet every month, like the stretching and trying to figure out, are we going to be having new panel members in March? Are we on time? Are we on track? Do we have to pause? And all that, I think, should have been more kind of thoughtfully planned. So we weren't in this position of not knowing, and not to put you, on the spot, but we're like, okay, we need an answer by Tuesday. We don't have that. Then what are we doing? So it brings an extra layer of pressure for you too, and for us, like waiting on your email for everyone. So anyway, I think just having a better planification, a better understanding of the timing would have
Take all the feedback. Yep.
helpful.
I appreciate it.
And I thank you for being so precious.
Always.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on that.
Thank you, Soledad. I just want to ask a few more clarifying questions. Chris, you're referring to 21110, section C in the ordinance that says the city manager. Is that the one you're talking about?
The advisory committee, yes.
Okay. City manager shall form an advisory committee to assist in the panel selection process for regular panel operations.
Positions.
Positions. Thank you. And you're saying that clause is basically what supports that sitting panelists have to reapply?
Not necessarily that like specific clause, that whole section, because then there's subsections underneath that talk about what the advisory committee does. But because the city manager is required to take into account the advisory committee's recommendations, it would make sense that for them to be able to provide intelligent recommendations that they would, want to treat everyone the same, and so that, requiring, folks to apply so that they can go through the advisory committee so that that committee can provide the city manager with its recommendations on who should be appointed.
Not reappointed though.
There's a clause in there about, and maybe it's under terms, Chris, that says city manager may reappoint.
Yeah.
And the may is the discretionary part, which is the same for council, right?
Absolutely.
And it says, I'm fairly certain it says reappoint. And so there's something in there.
May reappoint.
Or may serve another term.
I understand that you have the authority to maybe reappoint. The issue that I have is with the process of making sitting panelists reapply and using that process as if it is somehow mandatory to the process when it has not been historically practiced. I spoke to the oldest sitting panelist that was here when the panel started, and they said they've never had to reapply or are completely unaware of any reapplication process. That when they wanted to extend their term, they did so by indication. That's been what's historically practiced to everyone sitting on the panel. So my thing is that if there's been a change or going back to the old way that was apparently never practiced in the first place, then that's a problem. That should have been voted upon, and it wasn't. And because of that, now we're losing a panelist like me, Lynn, who served for 3 years and has historical context. That's really important to new panelists coming in. So that's the feedback that I have. Is that
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
So moving forward, what we just experienced will be the process.
Yes. Unless code is changed.
But it's not explicitly written in the code that we have to have a reapplication process.
I would disagree. I think the terms may reappoint, and the fact that there is an advisory committee that has to see the applications in order to provide recommendations. And we are following whether or not we followed it in the past, because I'm clear about we did not, right? There are cases in which that was not. But under council appointments, it would have been the same reapplication process. Excuse me. So I don't believe it is a change in process as much as a correction of something we didn't do right.
I think the sticking point is we calling it reappointment, because if once you cycle off another board or commission, your term's up and you just have to reapply again. And it's not, you don't get any kind of added value for having been on say the HRC for a previous term. Your term ends and you reapply. It's just like Chris was saying, well, once you're off this, you're out. And so reapply. And don't sit around the table, I guess is what you're getting at. This is a ritualistic table. And so the idea is that if we just say your term ends, and if you want to get back on, you have to reapply. There isn't this idea that, okay, my term is up, and because I've been here before, I want to get reappointed again. That kind of anointment process, I think, goes counter to this whole idea of equity.
And it's one of the reasons I sent everyone that email about reappointments, because I didn't want people to miss the process. But that doesn't mean that the process can't be clear, can't be, we can't think about what does that look like and have more clarity to it. But it is one of the reasons that I wanted to make sure people knew there was a window opening and we needed folks to do that. Yeah.
I just want to name that what has been historically practiced from panelists who were sitting here when the panel started, that was never practiced. So boards and commissions, I don't know what document you're referring to, but as far as the boards and commissions guidelines, maybe there's another governing documents of boards and commissions, is there?
Boards and commissions sometimes have bylaws, just like the panel, but they also have their own sections in the code, like landmarks board or planning board. And you'll see in each of those sections for the various boards that they talk about, the terms and the appointment process and how long that they can serve.
So,
It's tied to terms and it's all the same because it is all part of the board and commission process. This panel, when I think it first started, was tied into that as well, even though there is a very, this is a unique panel in many respects.
So in some cases, it has to apply with boards and commissions, and other cases it doesn't.
I think it always was intended to be thoughtful and to be sort of similar to that. We did not tie it to that, and we wanted to move that in that direction to make sure that it was there. In fact, it was on one of the recommendations of former panels to make sure that we were more aligned with boards and commissions in terms of how that happened. I don't know the dates of everyone when they first started and when they ended, but it would have been the same process of reappointment with council had it not in the recent past switched over to city manager. It just would have been the same reappointment process.
It would have been the same reapplication process?
All board and commission members also still have to reapply. Now, I grant you, we missed it, but it would have been the same reapplication process.
I think there's a difference between missing it and have never practiced it.
I don't know that we have never practiced it, to be fair. I don't know the terms and when that happened. If they went before council, they had to reapply. And I can't recall the dates in which that switched.
Well, and I think the point is whether it was practiced or not, that's the process moving forward. Is that correct? So we're not going to change that. So I think.
Unless we change the.
I think, yeah, the
Unless the
5-year
code
review
changed.
is
The
an
code, not the
opportunity
5-year
to
review.
discuss
Yes.
this
The
feedback
code
and
is
any
different
other
than our
feedback.
5-year review. The code is something we don't have any say in.
But if
no,
there are
we-
recommendations
we-
from the 5-year review
Ordinance,
that
we do.
that
not
then
the
impact
code.
What an ordinance or the code is a much larger thing than the ordinance. It's
Right.
I think we're using it.
We can change the ordinance, the code, which is the
Yeah.
same of the code.
you can
If-
recommend changes.
I mean, the
Exact council will have
We
to,
can,
yeah.
when lobby for a change.
Yes.
Yeah, no, there is a process to change. So,
I think we've got to keep moving.
Yeah.
I really appreciate your
Yeah.
questions and feedback.
Absolutely.
Let's keep talking about it. I think that sounds like the forum is the 5-year review. That's a good place to kind of hold those conversations. And if anyone else has thoughts or feedback, having just been through the process as a new panel member as well, totally welcome and encourage you guys to submit that feedback too. So.
Welcome to the conversation.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got.
Yes, we will, training, we can fill you in more on all stuff.
You can call us and we can.
All right, rapid fire through these last few. Co-chair election.
Me.
Thank you
Thanks,
so much.
Maria.
Thank you. Always here though, and happy to come back whenever you need.
thank you.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. All right, co-chair election protocol. This month, we're going to talk about how we want the elections to go. This is up to the panel. We've done it in 2 different ways. I'll tell you a little bit, or we can tell you a little bit about both of those. But we could do this however the group would like. The goal is next month to hold elections for co-chairs. So Soledad and I were co-chairs for the last year. Co-chairs serve 1-year terms and they need to be voted on by a majority of the panel to become co-chairs, but other than that, there's not a restriction in the ordinance or the bylaws. So we are just temporary interim for the next month so that we have co-chairs before we all can elect new co-chairs. So the 2 processes that we've done in the past, and please jump in if I say this wrong. 2 years ago, we did like a simple election. Anyone who wanted to kind of signal their interest in being a co-chair had a couple of weeks to kind of put their hand up and say so. In the panel meeting, we went around and I think you had a minute or 2 to give talk a little bit about why you want to be a co-chair. And then we did a simple vote. Last year, we did a process that was a little more strategic, I guess, involved. I think, Alan, you were on.
It was more consensus based.
Yes. Do you want to tell us like a 30-second or sociocratic? Yes. Do you want to give us like a 30?
Yeah, the idea was to, rather than it always being the senior members or the most knowledgeable people or whoever, it gave everybody an opportunity to be a part of the process. So you could opt out, but the idea was everyone was in. And it was kind of ranked choice voting where people, I think we voted for the top 3 people. I can't remember, we'd have to go back and check the notes. And then the top 2 were top 2, there was a vote on that. But again, but the idea was to rather than just start out with people who, wanted to campaign and get picked. It gave more of an opportunity for everyone else to kind of be involved in the process. I thought it worked pretty well.
It did, yeah. So crucially, everyone was in by default. You actually weren't not allowed to opt.
That's
out
right, I guess
unless
you
you were
weren't.
chosen. If you didn't want to do it, you could say no. Yeah.
And I cannot apply again because I've been a co-chair for 2 years. So I'm gonna be leaving and we're gonna need at least, one new co-chair for sure.
Go ahead. One question I had is rather than having annual elections, what if we had 2-year terms?
Can't do that without changing the bylaws.
Well, I think that's one thing that we got to take a look at because it just seems to be one of those administrative things that, takes up a whole meeting. And then it just takes another training process to reorient people over and over when I think we could, if we settle on someone, we should have faith that they're going to be able to carry through their orders, for 2 years.
Yeah, it's a fair point. And we can vote to change our bylaws. I might actually support keeping 1-year terms. I think it's a big task and folks don't always know exactly what they're getting into. And so I think it's a little bit more approachable to say, do it for a year and you can always reapply again. And I think it probably also makes things easier with, it can be a little chaotic with when folks' terms roll over. We're not.
Yeah, that is true. They have
But I
staggered
hear you.
terms.
Yeah. Okay. Preferences. Members who were here last year, did you like that? Do you want to do it the same way?
Feel fine to me.
I wasn't here, but I'll do it.
I really appreciated the everybody's in mindset. I like that it didn't force people to be like, I want to do it, because I think that can mean some people fall out of the process when they shouldn't. However, it was a lot of time. It took up a lot of a meeting. So perhaps we could combine the two a bit and do a more streamlined version of that if folks want to.
Yeah.
Do you think that's?
I agree. I think, dedicating the whole meeting to it was a bit too much. I think we can streamline a little bit and also, sorry. Oh, Chris, were you going to say?
I was gonna say something.
Yeah, please.
So, potentially you could combine the two, as Lizzie was saying, where somebody could say, I'm interested. But because we use Robert's Rules of Order, which you'll learn a little bit about the legal training, any action of the panel has to have a motion and then be seconded and then be voted on. So someone could basically say, I'm interested, I move, to be a co-chair. And then if they get a second, then it can be voted on. That's how it officially could happen. But if someone thought that someone else would be a really good co-chair, they could move that they're a co-chair. And then if that gets a second, then they could be appointed co-chair if the vote carries. So I just wanted to put that out there that it doesn't have to be like, I'm campaigning for co-chair. It could be, you could nominate someone else. I just wanted to put that out
The vibe I'm getting is no strong feelings, which is also totally valid feedback. Do we want to? Is that everyone good with maybe Soledad and I? You know what? You're probably election commissioner because
I could.
partial. So would you like to design the process and be ready to manage it next month?
Sure.
I'll be amazing.
Over coffee? Yeah, okay, sure.
Okay.
Would it be against any rules to if you want to be a co-chair to put that in an email to other panel members? That way you're not having to spend time talking about why you want to do this during a meeting as opposed to doing other things. Is that
you can communicate, yes, you can communicate to all panel members and you'll learn about this in legal training. You just can't have substantive discussion back and forth outside of these public meetings with more than 2 members. So if you have a big email chain talking about who we're going to elect as co-chairs, you can't do that in the email chain. But if Lizzie, for example, wanted to write a statement on why she wants to be a co-chair again, she could write that statement and then send it out to the panel. I would always suggest ACCing, ghost CCing folks, so that in case somebody hits reply, it's not replying all, and then we have an open meetings law violation. But yes, that is a good idea. It's throwing a potential avenue. And city council does that with hotline.
where they'll send out a communication that's read by the rest of council, but it's not a back and forth. The thing you want to avoid outside of these public meetings, back and forths.
Okay, super briefly.
So what I don't like about that kind of process is that, you know, there could be 4 people who say they want to be one of the co-chairs, and then 2 people get voted out. So to me, it makes more sense, just because I'm a consensus guy, to have like Soledad or Lizzie or some kind of nominating group kind of pick out 2 people. These are the 2 people that we think would be the co-chairs, as opposed to exposing everybody to a vote and then there'll be losers. And I don't like to see organizations like this have losers.
Yeah.
Good point. Okay.
Why don't let's do this. Anyone that has an interest in being a co-chair, I commit to like a thoughtful process. I can reach out to you, Alan, if I need some support in creating that. So email me only if you're interested in being a co-chair or continuing to be a co-chair. And then if we don't get any email, then we're in trouble. If we get only one email and one person only interested, well, we'll see kind of how that goes. But I think it will be important to kind of gauge the interest. We don't want to force anyone into it either. But anyway, that's what we can do. And also what I was thinking we could do, or I can commit to do, is send an email out, kind of laying out what the commitment and time commitment is, so everyone knows what they're getting into. That way we can. Okay, great.
And just so it's clear, new members are also totally eligible to be co-chairs. So everyone is welcome. Send questions to Soledad.
Yeah.
All right. Can we do these in 1 minute each and then try to get to public comment? Our community members have been very patient. Q1 meeting with the chief.
I've been in communication with BPD, and you saw the email that the chief sent you. I don't know if you shared it with
the description of the changes.
Yeah, I don't know if you shared that. I shared.
Yeah.
We're talking about General Order 120. BPD says that in 2 weeks at the meeting with the chief, we could use that as a training session for General Order 120 if y'all are interested.
Yes, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, we're not sure about timing, but that could also be an opportunity if they have the availability for someone to also do a presentation on the request from panel members of learning how cases move from like officer to sergeant and back, and then their relationship with the detectives division and how that flows.
That would be great. Do you think we have time for both of those?
My thoughts would maybe be if we would say to do both, to maybe do the detective one first. But that I told them I'd get back to them after to see how panel members felt about that.
Lawrence has a question.
Oh, go ahead, Lawrence.
Thanks,
Hi. It occurs to me at a previous meeting you had, Milan asked to have a session with the new trainer for the police.
He's not available that day.
Okay,
I did make that request, but he's not available.
thank you.
But that's probably something we're still trying to, like, is that request still live and we're working on trying to set that up? But it just couldn't happen during that meeting?
Because we still want to meet with them.
Yeah. Okay.
Without.
I don't know if you wanted we had talked about it being at
Maybe the next quarterly meeting.
I can ask that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe we can add something in the like April training too. Well, I think the sooner the better, and that was
Any available time where we're meeting, maybe
Yeah.
we could view those as options. Okay. Super quick background for our new panel members. General Order 120 is the BPD policy, please correct me if I say anything wrong, that governs the complaint and misconduct process. BPD has a draft, totally rewritten version of their policy that they have provided to us in draft form for questions and comments. So we've had it for about a month. We just got a good summary of the changes yesterday. That's what Sherry mentioned. I'm going to send that out to everybody, or today, sorry. So I'm going to send that out to everybody, and we'll use our meeting with the chief on the 23rd, 2 weeks from now, to discuss questions and comments. Cool. And the meeting with the new trainer is something that came up over the last month or two. There's a new team member, new officer at BPD who is in the staff training role, so providing training to the police department. Panel had expressed interest in meeting with them to learn about their approach and background. Yep. Cool.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All good? Okay. 2025 annual report. Sherry, go.
1 minute.
We are much farther along with the 2025 caseload, so I'm hoping that we can put together the 2025 annual report earlier this year, since the caseload is significantly progressed. And I am suggesting, because I can't make a nomination, that an ad hoc committee of like 1 to 2 panel members is put together to assist me with the annual report, because the ordinance tasks the panel with putting out an annual report.
Is anyone interested, in theory, in participating and helping to put together the annual report?
Lawrence, on the state.
And Lawrence, excellent.
I would be,
Go ahead.
I'd be interested. Thank you.
Great. Okay, so I think we need a motion to create a ad hoc committee to support Sherry with creating the annual report.
2 people, because otherwise those have to be publicly noticed. And
Oh, 2 or fewer. Okay. Decide who is first.
It's okay. If you already have 2, that's fine.
And also just language is important. So the ordinance said that the panel has to produce an annual report with the support of the monitor. And it's not the other way around. It's not the monitor's report with support of the panel. So that's an important thing, like the annual report, like the ordinance said that the panel has to produce this annual report with the support of the IPM and city resources. So it's the other way around.
Okay, I'll make a motion that the panel establish an ad hoc committee to write a 2025 annual report with our representatives being Alex and JD, who will report back, who will work with Sherry and report back to us from time to time.
Thoroughly moved. Do we have a second? Yes. All right. All in favor?
There's a
Discussion point on that.
Yes.
Like, I really appreciate it, but I also think that the annual report is for last year.
Yeah.
So we need a former panel member at least.
True.
We can charge new people. Thank you so much for volunteering to do something that you were not here for. So we should have older panel members working on it.
Okay.
Curtis,
Are you interested?
okay, so then Curtis and
Perhaps next year.
So JD and Curtis,
Would it be, or me and someone who's senior to the panel could be another suggestion?
Yeah.
yes, Curtis and JD
So
then.
you and JD and Curtis.
Okay,
Good.
thank
but
you.
that's not to say that we can't show up to the meetings as
Yes.
non-ad hoc members.
Well, we can't come to
No,
the
you
meetings
can't
because
because
it comes.
that would be
It was an actual meeting.
We can definitely find a way for anyone to contribute if they'd like.
I think if more people are interested, we can always make them public.
Okay.
As
Do we
we
need
do
to
with
vote
the
on the
community
motion?
engagement
So
committee meetings. They are public.
do you want to amend your motion to be JD and Curtis?
JD and Curtis.
Okay. And we have a second? All right.
Evan.
Second.
All in favor? Who's second? Sorry.
Evan.
Okay, you're right, supporting an unofficial.
I don't think my term has started yet, so.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, there. All right.
Meant to mention that.
Anyone against?
Chris has something to say. Did you?
Oh, I was just gonna point out that technically Alex is an oncoming member, that his term doesn't start till the next. And so I advised that I was okay with him being here because he's a member in training,
Oh, students are on a different cadence.
member in training versus puts him in kind of a special category.
Got it. Okay.
Why I advise that it's, my opinion, it's okay that he's here. So thank you for being here.
Okay,
JD and Curtis is
fine
to do this.
Yes.
Okay.
public comment. And do
We
you
have
wanna
Q
take
and
over?
A's, so if you want to manage public comment, that would be good. And then I'll take off.
Great. We are finally going to go to public comment. Thank you all for bearing with us. We really appreciate you all being here. We also see some Q and A in the meeting, so perhaps let's do public comment. And if you put your comment in the Q and A and you just want us to answer that, we will address those as soon as we're done with public comment. But you are all welcome to speak for up to 2 minutes, and we'll have a timer for you. Since we do have 16 folks in attendance, what we'll do here is just ask if you'd like to give public comment, please just raise your hand. And we will go through one at a time, let you know you can unmute, start your timer, and then you're free to go ahead and speak. Selena, do you want to manage calling out names, or would you like me to do that? What's easiest?
Can you do that? I can't see.
Okay,
So we need,
yeah, can you just scroll up slightly?
yeah, scroll down there.
Okay, I think we have Dan. In just a moment, we're gonna unmute you.
Sherry, are you controlling the? No, sorry, I just can't see. There. Okay.
All right, Dan, you are free to unmute and speak.
Yeah,
We're
hi,
starting
can you
your-
hear me? Oh,
Yes,
there's a
go
timer.
ahead.
Yeah, first of all, I just wanted to say thank you to the members of the panel for their work on this oversight board. I've worked in government and national security my whole life, and I know that oversight and accountability is a real gift. It's how we learn and it's how we get better, and I'm just really grateful for your service. That's why I was so concerned when I saw this complaint against the outgoing chairwoman, Ms. Diaz, of this oversight panel. That complaint really surprised me. I read it carefully and found it really concerning. At best, an accusation of bias like this against a chairperson conducting oversight can send a chilling signal about the police's willingness to receive feedback about their work. And at worst, an accusation like this against a woman of color from the police is a really dangerous signal. If I were in her shoes, I would feel, yeah, well, perhaps you can ask her. Either way, I think it calls into question the ability of the oversight to function in this city, and the willingness of the police force and the members of the police to subject themselves to receive the gift of oversight from citizens. I was surprised. I assumed that there was going to be discussion of this today in this panel. I feel disappointed that there was no mention of it. I haven't seen any public comments from the city manager, who I know just departed, or by the independent police monitor, who I know is still here, or the police chief, in defense of the right of the committee to question and critique and conduct oversight against the police, and have the police, the members of the union, respect and support and celebrate that. Yeah, I just feel like this silence doesn't represent the values of the city that I hold dear. So thank you.
Thank you, Dan. We appreciate your comments. For the members of the panel, we are able to respond if anyone would like to in general for public comment. Next up, we have, I apologize if I'm not saying your name correctly. Is it Kriti? You are free to unmute and begin.
Hi, I have been a resident of City of Boulder for 13 years. I am a climate scientist. I've worked with a lot of data, and the other job I do is hold grief and rage spaces for people who are working on climate and for climate and justice. I especially create spaces for people of color around the City of Boulder and County of Boulder. I want to highlight that the percentage of Black people in this city is 1%. The national average is over 13.5%. Even University CU Boulder has a percentage of Black people, Black folks at 2%. We are losing Black people, and for the police union complaint to say that police professionals, police department members are leaving the city. I just am stunned. Just like Dan, I would like for this, for the police chief and city manager to respond to this in very clear ways. I cannot tell you how many times I have heard Naropa students, CU Boulder students, and members of public at large that they face blatant racism, microaggressions, allegations of theft, unwelcome touch, and molestation that they do not report to police. My own self, my husband and I, climate scientist owning a home in South Boulder, we were told that we belong in Guantanamo Bay. We do not have the right to live here. A few years ago, we chose not to go to the police after that blatant incident because we had little trust that our agony and pain will be held well. The work you guys are doing is crucial.
Can I move to add another minute to her time?
I think she has to request it. It's not, the chairs, we can provide it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's, Kriti, you have one more minute if you'd like it.
Yes, I'd like to thank you. I just want a very clear response. If you want people of color to stay in this city, please speak up for us. People of color are leaving the city. People of color do not trust this city. I have personally lost friends, colleagues to other cities, or they have totally moved out of Colorado. And that's all I need to say. There is a disconnect between experience of police force and the people of color citizens of this country. There are ways to deal with it. If you haven't heard of my grandmother's hands, there are skillful ways to hold pain on both sides. I'm a huge advocate of that, but we cannot put this issue under the rug. And thank you for all the work you do. I really appreciate it. It's been sweet to hear all of you put your effort, time, and sweat.
Thank you very much, Kriti. Next up, we have River. In just a moment, you will be able to unmute and speak. Next one.
Is it? One down.
All right, sorry, 1 second.
There you go.
Okay, you are now able to unmute. Go ahead, River.
Hello, and also thank you for the work you're doing. I was also hoping that the complaint against Ms. Diaz would be on the agenda. I was just really concerned when I read about it. You know, I'm on the one hand, I'm concerned that this complaint treats disagreement about interpretation of cases as misconduct. It also seems to be treating, for that, it's like oversight panels are designed to incorporate diverse interpretations of these incidents. Like that's what I understand to be the point of these panels, especially around bias or community impact on marginalized communities. And that only works if panel members can interpret this evidence independently and offer their unique perspectives on it. I'm also concerned that it seemed to present concerns about the process as misconduct. I think, that you as panel members need to be able to criticize the process, that it can be reformed. And if expressing those concerns becomes grounds for discipline, I think it undermines the independence that this panel has and that civilian oversight is meant to provide. I think that healthy oversight means we need to have space for disagreement and critique. And I'm really hoping that the city will protect that independence. And I, again, really appreciate that this panel exists. Thank you.
Thanks, River. All right, that was the last hand I see. I just want to put out one more call. If anyone would like to give public comment, please go ahead and put your hand up and you can have your time to speak. If not, we will start going through the Q&A. Do you want to take over for Q&A, Soledad? Or would you like me to read them?
I'm good, however you want.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so we're gonna read the Q&A. We have a community member, if they are so appreciated. Oh, this is a 6:55, so whatever. If they are so appreciated, why are they leaving? It seemed like Milan was not leaving of her own accord. Can you give us a brief understanding?
First question.
Can any
About why the panel members who are not panel members had to leave when the meeting started. That question's asking.
Oh, I do interpret that differently in terms of leaving the panel as like a member of the panel. This is how I interpret that. But essentially, to answer your question, Bill, only panel members, city staff, or people who are on the agenda really should be in this room. We allow community members to attend virtually. And once somebody's not a panel member anymore, then they're just a beloved community member, which is great.
Just to briefly answer, in short, Milan and Turner reapplied to be reappointed, as we also did. We were 5 panel members that were reapplying for another term, and Milan was not invited to the interview, and Turner was invited to the interview but wasn't selected. So we lost both of them in this new process. So that's yeah, you're right. He wanted, Milan and Turner both wanted to stay on the panel, and they were not recommended by the selection panel.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to admit, as we were appreciating Milan, all of the hard work and dedication and the fact that she's taken more cases than anyone else and has constantly showed up, as Sherry said. And even though she reapplied, wasn't even taken in for an interview.
Yeah.
Just want to name that.
Yeah. True. Okay, next. It is very sad that Milan was not reappointed. Kriti again, what was the basis for not inviting Milan for an interview? We don't have an answer. The city manager, again, Kriti holds too much power here. Milan said, actually, even under the city council, there was no reapplication process. Community member, thank you to the current speaker, Dan. These were my concerns as well, which sparked my commitment to show up to this meeting. It's key issue that needs to be discussed with the urgency it deserves.
I'm sorry, can we go back to Milan's statement?
Yeah.
Milan said actually under the city council, there was no reapplication process. Milan being a panelist who served on the panel for 3 years. Noria just sat here and said that the reapplication existed during the transfer of appointment between city council and the city manager, and had it still been in the hands of the city council, we would still be doing a reapplication process. And that's not the case.
Okay.
Mhm.
Anonymous attendee. I have been attending quite a few POP meetings lately, and I have asked the following 2 questions a couple of times, also via email to the city manager, but never received an answer. Why was there a need to reinterpret the police oversight ordinance? Why was this reinterpretation done without the involvement of the panel and or the community that this panel serves? In the meantime, I have gathered 2 additional questions. I'm not sure I was able to fully understand the whole discussion around reapplication, but we seem to have lost a valuable panel member due to a new process. Yes. And the 4th question, I see there is a police union complaint against Soledad being biased, my opinion. Of course, she is, as we all are. I personally am rather concerned about anyone, including police officers, claiming not to be biased. Isn't that why we need this panel? We love it if someone could help me understand all 4 concerns. Thank you. Anonymous attendee again, what was the basis for not inviting Milan for an interview after she applied? We don't know that. Okay. So I'm facilitating, but can I take a second to first? So first of all, thank you so much for the members of the public that have expressed their support. yes, there is a code of conduct complaint that is now of public knowledge. The complaint have been made public for a week, I guess, or so. I still don't have a decision. I haven't received any decision from the city manager, who I think is the one that will provide the resolution, right?
Anytime there's a code of conduct complaint after the investigation is deemed completed, then it's to be made public.
Yeah, okay, so haven't seen that happen yet. It sucks. I have shared this with some panel members. I do feel unsafe. The complaint was filed by the whole police union, which is very scary. It's not from one person, but the whole union. And also, I think it's a challenge to our systems. It's a challenge for all panel members. Am I biased? Absolutely, yes. I guess the only difference, I'm working on it every single day. We're all biased, I guess. So, and also I'm aware that I'm biased, which also brings some, level of conscientiousness, I guess, to the table. I'm very concerned about that the police union feeling empowered enough to file a code of conduct complaint like the one that you all saw, we all read. Is about how I voted in 2 cases specifically, and something that I said in a meeting. So it's very concerning that we're all, I'm going to say this with a grain of salt, that we're all exposed to that, even though in these 2 cases, there were 3 panel members that reviewed the cases, and I am the only one that is receiving a code of conduct complaint. And I want to be direct and honest, and I appreciate Sterling you being here, but I do wonder, do you all voted to file this against me? And is this 185 members of the union that had this discussion and then decided that this was the way to go against me, or is this one person decision? And you don't have to answer because I know you don't represent everyone, but that's a question that I have. And
there was no vote about it. There was no discussion about it, as far as I know, prior to it being, I guess, whoever it went to. So
yeah,
so
it's a challenge. And when Milan said you are coming to panel in crisis, I guess crisis is too big of a word, but I don't know how else to call it, this. And it's scary. And it's scary for me, and it's scary for my family. I'm an immigrant, and immigrants are not the happiest people in these times in this country. So
I would also add that obviously, like you said, I don't speak for everybody, but I don't think most of the officers even know that anything was filed or what the complaint was. So, for what it's worth.
Thank you, Stephanie. I really appreciate that.
I'm curious for the new panel members. I don't know what you're speaking of. Is there something that you could send to an email so that I could look to see what this
sure
is?
So the everything we're talking about is part of a confidential process that has not been raised in any public way to the panel. However, a news article ran about a week ago about this.
I'm curious of what the news article is and where I can find it so I can look into it. So I know what everybody's speaking on.
We'll point you to that.
Thank
you. It's hard to talk. I really appreciate the public's comments about how I can't believe we're not talking about this. It is this huge thing, but it is also very difficult because it's confidential and private, and we want to respect the privacy of individual panel members also. So really appreciate you sharing with us today what you have, and we support you 1,000%. And we're here to support you how we can and however you are comfortable with.
Thank you. It's a Boulder reporting lab, and the complaint is actually linked there. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
I can Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to speak to the complaint because I was also part of that group who looked at that case. And I don't disagree with what you said, and I would probably say the same things about whether I would push our community to report things based on the way that they're treated. And I didn't get a complaint of code of conduct. And I know that the union has changed leadership in the last year. And I'm going to say this publicly, we need to have a meeting with the leadership of the Boulder Police Union, because if this is the pattern of behavior that we're going to see when they disagree with us, or when they say that we're biased, which if you're listening, we are all biased, including everybody, regardless of what their role is, what their title is, the way that all human beings are alike is we're biased, we judge, and we stereotype. And the only difference is how we learn those. And we live in a country that is completely biased and there's no accountability. And if accountability for us is a complaint, then y'all better get your pens ready, because we're not going to stop talking about what we believe is true and why we're part of this panel. And I don't think we're scared to have a public meeting with the leaders of the police union to understand what is the process going to be moving forward, and are we going to have a working relationship or are we not? Because that is very important, because I think prior to this complaint, we've had a pretty good relationship with the police department as a whole and with the police chief. And we can't operate this way without a conversation. And I'm not one to shy away from that or to have any of our new panel members think that I can't speak my mind because I'm going to have a bias complaint. Like if we're going to complain about biases, we just might as well complain about each other every day, because every single person is exhibiting biases. And that's why we're here. So I think that I just want to put that out into the public, that's just based on that, we need to add something to our meeting to meet with the leadership of the union to let them know that we are here to work with you and not against you. And we'd like to have that same relationship with you. And I'm the kind of person where, like, if it's not going to be that way, just tell me.
Yeah.
Because we're all grown up, we're all adults. And if we're going to be adversaries, tell me that. Because then we know how to approach our work. If we're going to be collaborators, then we have to do something different, because if you're going to file a complaint, it should have been against all three of us, because we were all in the same discussion. And I agreed with everything that my colleague said. And so there's an issue there that I think we need to address.
Turn around to say.
Yeah, I'm wondering with this complaint, it seems like it says to me that officers have access to how we vote in our in our case reviews, and I'm just wondering, how does that give us the security that like I don't want anybody, like the people who I'm voting about allegations to and stuff, to know how I'm voting, because if they can see that, how does that ensure a fair and like secure process?
Hands up.
Oh, I was waiting to be called upon. Just so you know, Turner, and I mean, so everyone knows, you see the memos that I send out where they know which panel members were on the case review, but there's nothing attributed to any specific individual panel member. You all see those memos. So I just wanted that to be clear.
And just to be really clear, that complaint came from whoever filed it watching a public meeting where Soledad voiced some opinions that were hers and weren't really connected to any case at all. So just to be really clear on that, that's where the language came from. It was watching one of these panel meetings, and they construed it as she was being racially biased and discriminatory based on their own bias of what they heard from her. So I don't want to belabor it. So
Yeah, I'm kind of emotional, but can you read the Q&A that we have there?
Yeah. Yes.
Sorry.
I may make a brief statement. One of the previous questions that I believe started this conversation was multi-part. Could we just go back to that to make sure we address every piece of their question?
We won't be
Yes.
able to get it all.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah.
It's stuff we'll have to. follow
So these are big questions and
Yeah.
some of them need,
Yeah.
we would need information from the city
Yeah.
manager.
Yeah, there's
How
two
about
big-
this as a commitment? Can we, co-chairs, work on tracking down
Yes.
answers to those and what's the best way to share them?
So those questions, I think we can get back to it maybe next month. Can you screenshot those? So we can just have them, but I don't
For
know.
our anonymous attendee, if you would like us to get back to you individually sooner, please email the panel and just let us know. You can email us at policeoversightpanel@bouldercolorado.gov. Police Oversight Panel, all one word. If you're comfortable waiting till the next meeting in a month, we will share more comprehensive answers to all those questions.
And I think we have
Okay.
active.
No, I'm changing that. Okay, and wrapping up our questions here,
We've done all these. It's,
yeah, let's scroll, okay.
it's that last one.
Did we answer the first two? No. So from anonymous, how do we know if these concerns that are being brought up about Diaz and the police union are being heard and acted upon? How is Diaz being protected? The purpose of the panel is to uplift underserved community member voices. Agree completely. I don't know that we have answers to some of those questions, but I think we have the same questions. From a community member, that complaint is very scary and counter to the intentions and reasoning for this committee. It is a threat to all of the members and the community. The police union is essentially telling everyone to back off while simultaneously attempting to make this committee ineffective and therefore pointless. It is part of a move to say they and no one else will oversee them and their actions, even when the community decries their actions. Thank you for that comment. Also from community member, quick link to the article. Thank you. The article is linked there for any community members who'd like to see it. Also from community member, so you will come up with a way to address the police union complaint and how to protect Diaz and other members by next meeting. Our comments about the questions were actually for a different set of questions. We will have responses to those questions. I think we as a panel are working on figuring out how we want to proceed in our next steps related to the complaint. Anyone want to share anything else about that? Okay. All right, I think that's all of our questions. Soledad, would you like me to continue or do you want to pick up? All right, thank you all. We really appreciate you all being here and sharing your thoughts and questions with us. So thank you again. Does anyone need a 5-minute break? Are we good to continue? Continue? Yes, okay, let's do it. Okay, we're moving into our community outreach and engagement committee update from Bell.
So I have very little of an update. I want to do something. I'm going to ask Sterling to do something, but I want to just let you all know that community engagement is something that we expect everyone to play a role in, whether it's helping us define the communities that you represent, whether it's helping us to create an event. Sometimes there's city events where we ask people to come and just man tables and to engage with the public. And so we'll talk more of those. We have a community engagement meeting once a month, usually the first or second Thursday. But I'll adjust those and send out some calendar invites. And basically, the first meeting will be to talk about ideas that you have. So I just would encourage you to think about things that in the communities you move in and out of. Are there groups that would benefit from having us come there, talk about what the panel does, how to file a complaint, and then just do like Q&As. But I want to give a little of my time because I recognize that Sterling is our liaison, and I just wondered if you wanted to say anything to our new panel members as our liaison, and as somebody who has been committed to our committee for as long as I've been here, and I want to, just want to honor that and thank you within my time.
Yeah, I just want to like offer my services more, especially like for, if you guys have any questions, once you start doing case reviews, I've been a police officer here for 23 years. I'm a defensive tactics instructor and officer survival instructor, amongst other things. So I think I have a pretty good understanding of what should be done, what could be done, and a lot of the complaints you're going to look at, especially if they involve any types of use of force. So I really want to be a resource for everybody. So if you have questions about like, if you have any questions about like what an officer did on a call, I'm happy to talk with you guys, either an email or a phone or in person, to say, hey, this is what I think. This is how we train. Yes, this was in line with training, was not in line with training, those type of things.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's all I have. Even though historically I haven't said everybody needs to be involved in community engagement, moving forward, I'm going to say that. We need help.
April,
What was it, April?
I think 2nd.
It's in the ordinance, actually.
Okay, it's in the ordinance that we're all involved. And we're planning something on April, what is it?
This is the second.
The second?
First Thursday?
Oh, and we were gonna ask you about your conference rooms.
Sure.
How many people does it hold?
I will have to get back to you on that, but I think at least 4. Oh, yeah.
So we're looking to do something either at the Y or Terry's look into one of the libraries, so it's 49 people. And it would just be basically a 2-hour event to talk about the panel, what we do, how to file a complaint, and also ask questions about the 5-year process, that where we are, what do you think needs to happen, or what do you think needs to change? And so maybe tomorrow or by Wednesday, we can confirm either location, because we have the library already reserved.
Yeah.
And that's which one? The George?
That is the Meadows Library. It is behind the Safeway Plaza at Foothills and Baseline.
So it's over near the East Boulder or the East Boulder next
here.
downtown. So maybe I'll get to each side and then we'll plan on that. And so if you all could put April 2nd, it'll be in the evening.
I mean, that was the only library spot that was available. So you could also look at other days.
Soledad has enough space, then we could actually have a little more planning time.
Yeah.
But I'll look at the space.
Maybe not the night before.
Yeah, not the
5-year
night
birthday.
before.
You know, so is this a kind of a presentation that could be like a speakers bureau type thing where, okay, maybe I want to have one in North Boulder someplace, and I would be able to take this presentation and it would already be pre-approved by the city and all that stuff, and be able to just invite all my neighbors over to.
The 2 main points of it is we have to talk about what the panel is, how you file a complaint, and then you can just open it up.
Right, I was just thinking if there's, flyers that you would print up, or if there's a
Yeah,
PowerPoint presentation.
I don't know if we have a PowerPoint presentation, we could easily make one up, but we do have flyers. And we have we have a flag or something, right, that we put out. Yeah, so we can set it up as
like a speakers bureau thing.
Community engagement process, and just like if you have a community group that meets at 3:00 in the afternoon, you can get people there, then you're welcome to do that. And just those 2 criteria around describing who the panel is, what we do, and how to file a complaint, and then just open it up to Q&A.
Just as an aside, the chief has been making these sort of regional visits around town, and he's doing one in North Boulder in October. I volunteered at our community room at our HOA.
Okay.
And so what if we've kind of went to those or partnered up with the chief, and maybe 2 of us would show up to each of those presentations with his support. And
Yes,
just,
of course. We could put that on one of our questions for when we have our next meeting.
Or just barge in with us.
I'm sure we would welcome us, but we just don't want to surprise them. Okay, so any ideas that y'all have about community engagement, just reach out to me.
I heard JT say he has an idea already. Did I hear that correctly? Awesome.
Okay.
Looking forward to hearing about that at the
Okay.
community
So
engagement
this-
meeting. Yep, amazing. That's great.
Okay, thank you.
Anything you want to share briefly today? I don't want to put you on the spot, but
Just one community concern that I've noticed, just talking to families of students is, what will the relationship be between ICE and the city of, the police in Boulder? And what that relationship would look like. So potentially, allowing questions for if violations are seen, how can Spanish-speaking communities still have access to the resources that we can provide.
Thank you.
all right. IPM report?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, March 2026, Boulder Police Oversight Panel Meeting, Independent Police Monitor Report. Looking at our case review data for February of 2026, there was one full case file reviewed by the panel. 0 case files are pending BPD disposition, and we have 5 files that are awaiting police oversight panel review. 3 of those are ready, and I am going to stress, please be responsive to your emails and text messages trying to schedule these cases. I believe these were reported on last month, so we have to get those cases scheduled. Looking at the cases completed finalized by BPD since February 1st, 2026, I would like to report that 2 serious misconduct cases were completed in February, but I reported on them last month. So MI 2025-055, complainant called dissatisfied with a telephone conversation she had with an officer when she tried to file a theft report. A BPD supervisor reassigned the incident to another officer and learned that Officer 1 had not activated his body-worn camera to capture the initial conversation with complainant. The allegation against Officer 1 is a Rule 1 compliance with values, rules, or general orders. This is General Order 240. In-car cameras, body-worn cameras, and personal recording devices did not activate body-worn camera in accordance with General Order 240-2B. The panel reviewed the case, recommended that the allegation be sustained with verbal counseling for the officer, and the department agreed. There is a 2024 case that is open with BPD. It is in their chain of command. Looking at the statistics for the month of February, monitor classified 9 complaints. 1 was a misconduct. There were 0 serious misconducts, 1 community inquiry, 2 community feedbacks, 5 unspecified incidents. 0 cases were referred for conflict facilitation process. I did not observe any interviews this month or respond to a critical incident scene. I did not deem any case thoroughly complete, and BPD closed 3 cases. Looking at the open docket as of March 3rd of this year, there were 35 cases. 14 of those are classified, 0 were pending my classification, and 21 cases are in PSU preliminary investigation status. And some of the additional activities, outreach that I was engaged with, attended several Boulder Black History Month events, Winter Bike to Work Day, Was engaged in police oversight 5-year review conversations, supported the advisory committee with the panel recommendation process for new panel members. Attended the Rocky Mountain Equality, Safety, and Pride Liaison meeting. Attended a training on the art and science of asking questions. In the 10th District Public Safety and Criminal Justice Reform Advisory Committee, and engaged with BBSD and Apex. That is all for today.
Great. Questions, comments? Okay. Next up, we have the opportunity, the option to go into closed session for new panel members. This is when we can discuss, if needed, questions or discussion about confidential case summaries. We move to go into closed session if anyone would like, and it can be up to 20 minutes. Would anyone like to move to go into closed session today?
So there are no cases for us to vote on.
No cases for us to vote on.
So
But we have a number of, yeah.
I don't see the purpose.
Okay. No motion.
No motion.
I will state, yes. You brought up a really good point. We again don't have any complaints to review or vote on. That makes about, I think, 2 total cases we voted on in the 4 months since this policy went into effect. Which seems like it's
Troublesome.
troublesome.
To say that,
Yes,
because I would add to that, to say, I don't know why we're not seeing
Yeah,
cases, because when I read what was in there, I thought this isn't anything for us. And so I think that's the deeper discussion with the chief and maybe even the police chief.
Yeah.
Because there's something happening here that I don't think we're seeing. So,
I think it's difficult for us to fulfill our role for the community to provide accountability if we are not doing case reviews. So.
Alright, so I'm sorry if I can, that we can go back to all these reports, but we see the less and less cases for us to vote or review on, and more community inquiries and all the other things that we're not allowed to review. And that comes, I think, from the classification of the complaints. So I think this is concerning, and we're becoming exactly what we talk about in September, October, November, December, January. We're becoming irrelevant, and when we do decide, we're subject to code of conduct complaints. So I don't know. Should we go home?
no, we're just going to push the issue.
It's yes. Well,
Right.
we're not going home, but
On that note, our last 2 items, case assignment status and 1 case to reassign.
There is a conflict, so we need at least 1 panel member to join MI 2025-05.
And current panel members already assigned are
Kristen and Turner. And it is a case review material that is higher than the average case. So I would say probably 4 to 5 hours of
changing your hand.
No, I'll still do that.
Okay.
New panel members, there's also a provision in the bylaw that new panel members need to, their first case review, they need to shadow. So.
And I haven't gotten the city.
Great.
Yeah, so.
We've got a volunteer, Bill. Okay, is that sufficient? Do you need 1 more?
I mean, if he's willing to take on like 1 or 2 new panel members as shadow, or he or somebody.
can they shadow without training?
Well, training, when is the case review? Yeah.
I mean, we would need to, we would need to.
The training happens
April 4th and 10th.
April 4th and 10th, so that's almost a month out. So that would be delaying the review.
Yeah.
I would say
I
if we get it
retract the
scheduled.
invitation.
Yeah, and my understanding is that training, shadowing, and then, yeah.
So will you send me the case tomorrow? So,
So no shadow and go.
yeah, so if you could send me the case tomorrow, then I can start to look at.
Okay. Any last comments, items? If not, we can entertain a motion to adjourn.
Oh, yeah.
I would say, of course, I can. Sorry. Second, all in favor? All in favor? Turn.
We do work really hard to get out on time, but it's unusual because we wanted to give you all some time.
Excellent. All right, we are adjourned.
Thank you for all being here. Hopefully you'll come back next month.
I will. More toppings.
Oh.
Yes.